I'd like to start with the idea that luxury has always been about comfort. And about 5 years ago, I started a journey about trying to understand the meaning of luxury. And I vividly remember speaking to a high net worth individual and a very influential luxury consumer based in New York. And I had asked her, "What does luxury mean to you?" And she had a very simple answer to me. She said, "Luxury to me is my nanny, my chauffeur, my private chef, and my personal shopper." And at that point, when she defined that to me, it really went against the assumption that I had about what luxury could be about. I thought it was all about aspirations, emotions, experiences. So that led me to think, is luxury about convenience? Because in the way she was describing it, it was about getting really quick access to services and luxury goods, but ultimately also taking away from her shoulders all the home chores that she didn't want to deal with. So, with this idea of luxury being about convenience, we continued our research journey. And we talked to hundreds of high net worth individuals and luxury consumers around the world. And we collected the words that they used to use to describe what luxury meant to them. And what was really interesting is that it just kept confirming the idea that luxury was about convenience. They kept mentioning words like time. Luxury for me is about gaining time. It's about having quick access. It's about ease. It's about comfort. And I remember this lady in New York that we also met, and she was a very big couture client. And we asked her, "Do you ever travel to Paris for Couture Week to get access to all, the latest collections?" And she said, "I don't have time for that. I call the fashion house, and they bring the actual collection in my backyard, and I just shop, just like that." And I thought that was fascinating, because one more time, I was like, where's the magic about luxury? Where is the emotion? And clearly for her, it was about getting quick access. So with that in mind, we wanted to understand the macro context of what brought us to define luxury as a convenience. And that started about 2 decades ago. And 2 decades ago, we've seen the emergence of e-commerce. That's really allowed us to get access to consumer goods delivered to us next day, same day, and in some places around the world, within a couple minutes. And then there was another revolution that's happened in the last 20 years. It's the on-demand economy. You can get content instantly. You can order a chauffeur. You can get some of the best restaurants delivered to your house as well on your doorstep. So I started to think, if we're living in this hyper-convenience era, and certainly accelerated by the pandemic, because we've all been converted to have access to this hyper-convenience for a different context, not because we're luxury consumers, but because we had access to none of the necessities and we're all stuck home. So I started to think, if I myself can also get a private chauffeur waiting for me within 5 minutes on my doorstep, and if it's more than 5 minutes, I actually get myself frustrated. I can order a nanny online. I can, get luxury goods delivered to my doorstep. So if those customers I had met who are high net worth individuals and luxury consumers, and I certainly am not, but we both have the same expectations. So with that in mind, what has luxury become? So during the height of the pandemic, we decided to go back to all those high net worth individuals and luxury consumers. And we've asked them again, what does luxury mean to you? And what was fascinating is that the words we collected were completely different. The way they were defining luxury was radically different. And the words they were using was, luxury to me is a human experience. Luxury is a dream. It's escapism. It's what really helps me think of a different world that I can't get access to. It's emotional. It's about heritage and craft. And I remember there was a customer from Hong Kong, and he used to travel a lot to Paris in one of the most iconic hotels pre-pandemic. And he said that to him, what he took for granted during the pandemic was the relationship he had with the staff in that hotel, and how he felt that those people were second family to him. And he said, to me, today, luxury is about a human experience because I crave it. I don't have it anymore. We've met another luxury customer who said, for so many years, I've been focusing on getting quick access to the product, but actually, I never really paid attention to the people who are behind making the product, the craft, the heritage. And I feel like I should really consider that a little bit more often. So when you start thinking about this, what we started to think of is, have we, in the last 2 decades, overly focused on getting a quick access to the product, to the endpoint, to the destination, rather than the actual journey to getting to the product? And there is a real opportunity here for the luxury industry to start rehumanizing that journey and focusing on that experience, that emotion, that aspiration to get access to it, rather than just making access to the service, the experience, or the product way too fast. So I want to introduce you to 4 key pillars on how we can actually rehumanize the luxury journey. And the very first one is one I call digital secession. And it's about going completely off-grid. It's about actually going completely against the current of what everyone else wants to do today, going online. And there is an opportunity here to reestablish human connections by disappearing from the online world. And 2 very successful luxury fashion houses have done that during the height of the pandemic. One brand actually decided to completely pull out from social medias. And by doing so, they're making you as a consumer really work hard to get to the information. But by doing so, you're really having an exceptional reward once you get to that information. And you're also getting in touch with the brand. Another very famous luxury fashion house has decided during the height of the pandemic, while everyone else wanted to put their products online, they've refused to put their products online. And they said the moment the stores will be reopening, you'll come and meet us to live the emotional experience, to live that human experience that luxury should be delivering. There is another element about luxury. Luxury is not about just a commodity. There is something very intangible about what we define about luxury. And it's about cultural capital. A luxury brand represents a set of a belief system that's embodied through the communities and the followers that live through those emotions and this value system. And there is a real opportunity for luxury brands to utilize these communities and become a platform to connect those like-minded individuals who share the same belief system with the brands. And this is a way as well to rehumanize this experience within the luxury industry. And I'm thinking particularly of a luxury fashion house again, think a month ago, who actually stretched its reach to its consumer base by partnering with a very famous popular cartoon and completely embodied its brand narrative completely differently. And what that means is that for a luxury brand to extend its cultural capital, there is an opportunity to start talking about luxury, but partnering with cultural industries, art, food, music, and blending those worlds so that this culture comes to life and becomes more human. Another element is about technology. And as much as we want to, potentially in the industry go off grid, we can't just ignore progress. Technology is here to stay. But there is maybe a very different way for the industry to actually utilize technologies. And it can be used in a very hidden, transparent way. Not like many other industries who are overly focusing on building digital experiences or making the device the center point of the experience. And I'm thinking particularly of a luxury consumer that was telling us a story about checking in one of his favorite luxury hotels. And he said, I went into the lobby and I was introduced to a digital butler. And the digital butler is not a bot, it's a human. But what this person did, they said, can you please hand over to us, if you accept, your smartphone, and we will install an app on it. And we're going to be capturing all your preferences. And by capturing your preferences, then we can deliver the best experiences and tailor them to you. And he's never had to use that app again during his stay. It was just happening at the very beginning, but again, was not a focus point of his experience. And that leads me to the last point. By utilizing technology, we can collect data if done in an ethical way. And in that context, luxury is also about a celebration of individualities. And that's what customers have told us. I want an extremely curated experience. And this is where the technology can become helpful to deliver this emotional exclusivity in the way it's being delivered. But it's still human. It's curated to you as an individual. It's emotional. So where I'm trying to get to is that we've been in an era where hyperconvenience was the focus point. We were trying to actually get consumer goods, experiences, and services delivered extremely fast to the customer. But what the pandemic has highlighted to all of us is something we already had lost a long time ago, the human touch. And therefore we can say that human connections are the new luxury. And there is a real opportunity for the luxury industry to differentiate itself versus all the other industries and reestablish and build platforms to actually create and enhance human connections. So I'd like to conclude on this idea that we can move away from convenient luxury to this idea of empowering in real life experiences. Thank you.